Hello everyone. Welcome back again to Beyond the Cover with me, Andreia, as your host on Dreamcatcher Radio. On my, can you believe it? 27th episode. Yes, I had went this far, and I can say that I'm very proud of myself. That I am very happy that I have listeners listen to me rumbling and info dumping them about writing, basically. And today, before we go to listen our first Gothic band, which is an absolutely amazing artist, UK artist, by the way, I'm going to share you some questions for today. But first, we're going to start with some jokes. That's right, with writing jokes. It comes from Liz. And let's listen just two jokes she had she have written for me this week. And I'm gonna say thank you, Liz. I actually loved them and I'm going to share to everybody. So here it comes. Why did the dictionary break up with the thesaurus? It's because they didn't find the right words. Right. That's a good one. Oh, God. The second one. Why did the novel go to the therapy? Let's see why. Too many unresolved plots. Another one. Liz, thank you so much for sending these jokes. They were absolutely delightful. Very much writing orientated, by the way. Very interesting ones. So, dictionary and thesaurus. Wow. What a comedy you did here, Liz. I don't know if it is jokes that you've listened somewhere or you just made up yourself, but either way, I love them. And also the novel Go to Therapy. Wow. That's a big one, but I can understand why. Unresolved plots. Yeah, sometimes novels don't have unresolved plots, and it's kind of a journey to a writer and the reader as well. The reader goes and say, "Okay, what happened here? I do not understand, and what's going on." So yes, we have a bit of everything here. So Liz, thank you so much. I really love them. And next is a question from Fiona from Berhamhood. She asks, do you write to discover yourself or to disappear into someone else? She says that she does both. Well, for that, Fiona, to answer your question, if I write to discover myself or disappear into someone else, that's a good question. I believe I'm in the same boat as you for both. Because, when somebody writes a story, yes, it depends on the writer, if to be honest with you as well. But for me, yes, I discover myself. I am writing, I'm just putting stuff out there, but also I'm putting my experience as a human being as well at the same time. I'm just using somebody else, aka, characters, to tell this is my experience. Or I want to tell experience from somebody else as well. And I think that's the beauty of writing a book, writing a story, is that you can discover yourself, who you truly are as a human being, as a person, your personality. And also you can just, as Fiona Willie says very well, disappear into someone else, to be someone else you don't know. Because, yes, writing brings other people with traumatic experience, for example, and they have some mental illnesses as well. It helps them to cope with things they go through. And writing really does help us that power for us to let things out, because sometimes expressing our emotions is very difficult. And the words helps that. Or sometimes, unfortunately, some people as well don't write what's inside because fear that someone else may find out. Even maybe that's never going to happen. But it does happen. So yes, Fiona, I really thank you for your question. It was a very beautiful one. And yes, I'm same as you on the same boat. I do both. To discover myself, to let myself be out there, to let myself be in the story, and also to disappear into someone else's as well. Because creating characters allows to have this space to create things for others to see and read. The next question comes from Lily from Liverpool. And she asks, when you finish a book, do you feel like you have closed the door or opened 1,000 more? Well, for me personally, I haven't finished yet a book, but I finished some stories. My experience is it opened more doors, 1,000 more actually. Because think about this, Lily. When you're writing a story, as I've said, even from the Fiona's question as well, you put yourself out there, which means you put your thoughts, your life sometimes, because sometimes writers don't write their life, but they can put their life as well. And you're opening up. You're already opening up your path for million paths, even. You says door, but yes, it's all the 1,000 doors as you put as well. And because of that, your life already has you have options to go through, to choose. And I think that's the beauty as well, to finish a book, finish content in a sense. Sometimes even if you don't have if you have unfinished stories or finished books, it's still going to open 1,000 paths more. You don't know why, Lily? Because it means that you have to rest for a while on that specific story. And your mind is saying, let's rest. For now, we cannot do this for now. Let's just go for someone else. And that's okay as well. Because maybe later on in life, you will grab that story and then you get a new idea. Probably better the one that you've got in mind. Who knows? So this is why when you finish or unfinish the book or a story, I'm going to add here a story, but to go to your question, a book, you will always open 1,000 more doors. Because that's the way I feel personally it is. I haven't finished stories that I participated years ago on contests. None was accepted, but opened the doors for me in the process of my writing, how I am as a writer. And that for me is already 1,000 open door already open. And thank you so much for this. So now, this is Tina, and this is like a request. This is a very interesting, request question she actually asks this week. And it is there a character you have written who knows you better than you know yourself? Ooh, this is a philosophical question you've got here today. This is a very, very good one, Tina. Thank you. To answer this request, I'm going to point it out that if I really have to choose a character, will be my cosmic beings for my novel I'm working on. After all, they are cosmic beings. They are above us humans. They created us. We are all their creation. And they know our thoughts and feelings, their paths already. They already know what the choice I'm going to make. So, yes, it has to be my cosmic beings for my novel. If I really have to know. They know me very well. They know my struggles, my feelings, my emotions, etc. There you have it, Tina. That's answer for your question. And yes, guys, I want to thank you so much for Lisa for jokes. Beautiful, amazing, fantastic. Keep on out on that, love. Fiona from Burhaman. If I write for myself or to Zapier, I do both like you, so thank you. And thank you, Lily from Liverpool, about finishing a book. If it is close the door, I'll open multiple 1,000 ones. And I'm going to say again, he opens all his 1,000 ones. At last, Tina, about which character knows me better than I do better myself. And I said my cosmic being. So, thank you, lovely ladies, for these questions for today. And the requests as well, and the jokes. And please, guys, keep sending me your requests, keep sending your questions, and, even observations if you want to make about writing and stuff and what's happening in the book industry, because it will be very interesting what you actually know. And because we finished now the questions, let's now go to our first Gothic band for today. It is an amazing artist I discovered yesterday. I was just browsing on YouTube. It's called Night in Athena's Words Unspoken. It is a UK solo Gothic project formed in 2020, so it's not that far. The sound is post-punk, dark wave with unsettling vocals that pierce the music with whispers, cudgels, and screams. They delve into shadows, unearthing the murk and socio-political decay of what were once brave societies. Their haunting tones are dynamic dirges that expose the corruption festering within the human condition. So, guys, enjoy Nothing Thinners, Words Unspoken.
Voice of our time, symphony.
that was Night in Athena's Words Unspoken. I really hope you guys enjoy listening to this beautiful song about silence, about how silence can break even the noises in the city, and how silence is just beautiful in general. This I taken from that. Now let's start our show. So last week I want to apologize. I probably really started badly, but it's going to happen sometimes. Then I start to get nervous, which is natural. That's fine. It happens. But let's see. So last time we started to see good reasons for including a flashback. And we saw the good flashback helps to build suspense of representing the reader with a mystery. And we used the Thursday Murder Club as an example. It can offer a meaningful clarity. And we used the example of a man called Hove, and how when he was in courtship, it was more his memories about his wife and how he processed them all, and how he was so angry with the world because this complete clarity. And also, a flashback can benefit the protagonist before their line-changing trauma. Wherefore the ghost. So the flashback was going to give you just an idea how the protagonist used to be before we met how he actually is, or they are right now. Can bring that clarity as well. And also we start to see how to write a flashback. And some examples I gave us today was time it carefully because of tension. Because keep in mind, if you're interrupting a scene designed to build suspense, make sure the flashback has tension. And the pacing as well, because flashbacks often slow the pace of the story. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's definitely something to keep in mind while adding a flashback. And also, lastly, with time carefully, it can hide in sight. Because when will the information, the flashback reveal to the most impactful for the reader? You have to ask yourself this. And how does the flashback hence what's going on in the current timeline? So this is all things you need to keep in mind when you're writing flashback with the time carefully in your story. And also, you saw the transition is very important. Because yes, if you transition something completely out of the blue, the reader is going to notice, going to say, why did the flashback was implanted here and not somewhere else? Because yes, while time carefully is important, but also the transition is important. And we start to see different types of transitions. Creating a door is one of them, which is it can mean, yes, if it is like a fantasy world, sure, it can be more indirect sense, but also can be metaphorically. So it's like you have to. It's like a door. A door opens something. So you're opening something in the flashback, but keep in mind how much you reveal when you're opening, in a sense, that door. And also trigger a memory. And for trigger memory, we saw that usually it's just necessary 3 sentences. You don't need 2 more, because imagine that your character is going through a lot in your story. And if you let's say write an entirely open page just to say that they are in a struggle, the reader is going to say, saying, why didn't my writer, why this is not the story of the character? Because again, going back to the transition types, trigger a memory is just something that is described briefly, just to reader have an idea what's really going on, not necessarily the entire plot of the story. Now, another way to do a transition is use physical breaks. A simple line break can signal a shift in time, but be aware that most readers will assume the timeline is moving forward. So use the final line of the previous paragraph to reference the backstory your reader is about to see. Then give the reader an immediate sense of time and place after the break. So yes, you can do this if you like. You can give your reader a physical break, as implied here on this. Let me go back here again. Yep, to a transition. It's going to be something like this. It's just an example. So this was who she used to be. She used to be the brightest star in Rainfield. Break. The day Misty was crowned Corn Queen, cameras seemed to follow everywhere. See how with the example we show who the character is, and then we give it a break. So you have to do this. Do not go into, I will say, just like anything else in the story, make sure how much information you put in, but try to be brief because it's supposed to be something that just shows what's happening, what used to happen, and then the character is remembering right now. On the same page to use the physical breaks, you can also use a flashback as a prologue. Or if you want to go big, you can turn flashbacks into the entire chapters, all their own. That's not the same thing as alternating timelines. If your novel has alternative timelines, you are telling two stories that carry equal weight. They probably complement one another in some way, but neither story exists purely to explain the other. So yes, I know this sounds very in contradiction what I have said, because if you spend too much time writing, the entire flashback, then I'm just going to say, I wish this was the story of the book. But you can do this. It's up to you as a writer. You just see in this example, it's up to you. You can just make pages of flashbacks, but equally, you have to keep in mind to balance between flashbacks and what's currently happening. And you want to give to the reader that timeline for them to keep in track what's going on. I personally prefer the short parts of the flashback to show what's really happening personally, because again, coming back to pacing and precisely timeline, if you want to write an entire book about the backstory and then going back to the current time, you have to be very, very careful to do this. It's possible to do. You have to be very, very careful. Because see that as a series of chapter-long flashbacks, however functions to shed light into the conflict of the central story, it can, and probably does, contain its own conflict and character arcs. But as readers, we devour those flashback characters in search of answers that affect the entire story. Yes, as I said, and I'm going to say it again. See, this can and always be connected with the conflict of the character and give conflict to the character's arc. It always does. But if you're going to do this method of long flashbacks and then and have that breaks as well, just to have the timeline, be very, very careful, because as says here, as I have said, the readers usually are in search of answers than the effect that demands to the main story. So keep that in mind. And this is how flashback and this is why flashback chapters tend to be fewer and far between the chapters that focus on the central conflict, and typically don't show up until several chapters in the main story, when the reader has had a chance to become invested enough to care about the backstory. So for this to work, as it says here, just present your character first, let the conflict first show up, and then I will say later on, present your backstories to explain why the character is the way it is, what conflict they go on, etc., etc. And now, I think it's a very good time to pause here for now. And I'm going to introduce the second metal band this week. And it's called Wine from Tears, in Memory of Truth. This is an Ukrainian melodic death metal band formed in 2002. Not much more information is this, just this. However, I'm just going to read some parts of the story because I think they're going to growl and scream, so keep this in mind. And it goes like this, some vocal part of the music. Tonight, we bury your truth, which was lost from artistic lies. How many times I open your eyes? But now it's time to say that it all dies. So guys, enjoy In Memory of the Truth by Wine from Tears. And that was Wine from Tears in Memory of the Truth. I really hope you guys enjoyed the melodic sound of this group, because yes, even metal bands can do really amazing and very emotional songs. Now let's just recap a little bit for what we have just started to do in the show, which is use physical breaks. And it's just simple lines that's just going to give a break. So basically, if you're going to use a physical break, just write the lines, then give it a break, like a physical break, don't write nothing, and then write again. This is basically what it is. And also, you can also include flashbacks on the prologue. That can actually happen as well. Because if you want to go big, yes, you can do this on the chapters. Or actually, if you want to go really big, the entire chapter should be the flashback. And there are books really the writers write it a lot. But also with this, you have to keep in mind that you have to balance between how flashback you're going to write, and also coming back to the reality of the character, how all the conflict is going right now. And we also saw that for chapter-long flashbacks, it is more like to highlight the conflict of the central story, and also as well to contain the conflict of the character arcs as well, because mostly your readers are searching for the answers of what's going on, the thing that's happening on the character. Because flashback chapters, as we have seen, I'm going to repeat it again, tend to be fewer and far between the chapters and focus on the central conflict, and typically don't show up until several chapters into the main story, when the reader has a chance to become invested enough to care about the story. So here is the entire chapter, is the flashback, then give a bit of break, and then let's go back to the main conflict, to when the character is right now. Another way to do the transition is also get fuzzy. The fuzzy is actually relatively simple in a way. So this is most like the time when you can blur the transition between the current timeline and the flashback. That's when the line is blurry for your character too. For example, your character may have dementia or suffers from PTSD, or they have suffered a blow to the head. Whatever it is, something in the present moment has triggered an old memory, and now they are living it again. So this is like what is to write a transition on the blur sense. Now, in order to make this work, your reader needs to understand that the character is not experiencing things exactly as they are. You can provide the clarity by establishing your character's memory challenges ahead of time. Another reliable tactic is to put something there that obviously does not belong, like a photograph in a public restaurant or a lover who died 20 years ago. So yes, as the thing implies, it's a blur, it's confusion. If your character suffers from dementia, we know how dementia works on people. Use that. If your character, for example, is someone has dementia, whatever the age is, because believe me, dementia also goes for 18 years old, unfortunately. So if you know dementia as a core, all right, all the memory works for them. It's going to be confusing, but it's how it is. And if your reader as somebody that is dementia, they will recognize. And this is another way for you to write flashback. And now taking a little bit out of how to write transitions, and just to see about how to write a flashback is also to keep it brief. Probably keep it brief. Let's see how. Once you have a heartfully transition into your flashback, don't get too comfortable there. Then get them back to the story they come from. Now, giving this advice, I want to admit that sometimes a long flashback is satisfying, because it can be satisfying if it is well crafted. But again, my opinion is I like it short, personally. But if you plan to pull along with your flashbacks, you need to follow the golden rule of how to write a flashback. Know why you are doing it, and make sure your reason is airtight. So, you can put it brief, but keep in mind as to be there for a reason, not because there's no reason for that. Remember that has to follow conflict, story, plot, etc., main character arc, etc. And another one is to make it relevant and revelatory. What does this mean? It means that for us writers, a deep dive into your character's past makes for a thrilling experience. But most readers only want to know about your character's spelling bee, humiliation, if it helps them experience your novel on a deeper level. So what new insight does your flashback provide for your reader? This could be something straightforward, like the revelation that the butler couldn't possibly be the murder site he was at the horse track the whole time. Or it could be deeper insight into your character, something that stirs empathy, clarifies context, or raises the stakes. So, again, for the flashback, make sure it's relevant, and also make sure that makes sense as well, I would say, because it's very important. Don't put your flashback just because. It has to have a reason for it. And it can be a simple or a more complex one. And lastly, use concrete details. Acknowledge that flashbacks are a show, don't tell story device. The entire point of recreating your character's near-death experience instead of just mentioning it is to help your reader experience. You want them to feel what your character feels and invest more deeply in the story's central conflict. Do that. You have to provide specific, concrete details. What did the air feel like that day, for example? What were the physical sensations that told your protagonist they were feeling a sense of dread? Yes, I have to agree with this, because details are very important. Like everything in a story is very important. Oh, hi, Harry. Good boy, good doggy, yes. Oh, he's a good boy. Yes, good boy. Yeah, oh, look at him, yeah. Every moment I be with Harry or doggy. So yes, details are very important in the story, because it makes your reader relate to the characters of your story, and you want that. A very good way to do that is to do the show don't tell technique. Of course, not always we have to show. Sometimes telling is very important as well. But in these moments, show don't tell is very important, because you want your readers to experience what's happening in someone's mind. And what a brave way to pause here. And we are going to be introduced our second gothic band. I discovered this while I was browsing on YouTube yesterday. Is always yesterday. It is Vivi and the Void, Idol Worship. And I discovered this by a YouTuber by the name Candlelight, with his video titles Best New Goth Bands. And I discovered so much thanks to him as well that I'm going to put 4 other times and talk about the gothic bands as well. So this is Vivi and the Void Idol Worship. They're an Australian gothic band and formed in 2014, very long time ago now. So he says their sound is specifically in this track. It is witchy and very atmospheric. So guys, let's enjoy Vivi and the Void Idol. that was Vivi and the Void, Idol Worship. I really hope you guys have enjoyed the atmospheric and also the hearing, the music sound and the voice of the singer as well. Absolutely amazing. So now just to recap, we just start to see another way to use the flashback, which is it's like writing someone that has dementia, for example. You have to write in a way that it's a bit confusing, but has to make sense at the same time. Because what you want for your reader to do is to understand that the character is not experiencing things exactly as they are, but you can provide the clarity by establishing your character's memory challenges ahead of time. And also, going back to how to write a flashback, because it was just to explain a way to make the transitions of the flashback. It is to keep it brief, but probably not. It also depends what you want to do, because as we have seen on the transitions, you can also write the entire story of your book as a flashback. You can do that also as well, keeping in mind to bringing back to the core plot line, because it's important to balance the storylines. And also to make it relevant to the story. Because what you want to do is to make your readers have this thrilling experience of your characters' flashbacks, and them to connect with the plot and what's happening between the characters' head and why they change so much. You want that. And lastly, is just use concrete details, because yes, you want mostly, as I've said it now, your readers to feel immersed in that atmospheric experience that your character is having. And not the better way than to use show don't tell technique of storytelling. I'm going to touch on that. And for that, for the flashbacks, that is it, folks. There's not really much to say about the flashbacks. I'm just really hoping that with this we have learned something new to put in your stories, and it's gonna help you to just play a little bit with your stories and characters. Now, I know I said in this for this week's video that we're going to touch on voice and tone, but I'm going to leave that for the next week instead, because now I want to introduce a second new metal band song that I was listening discovered just this morning, and it calls Eminence, God-Fearing Man. They are a Swedish metalcore band formed in 2010. Really gone far now. And there's not really much to tell about them, because honestly, I know by the title this sounds very Christian, but if you're not a Christian yourself, you can just see this in a different perspective. Anyway, I decided to include this band and this song because I think as powerful, it's a powerful music. It's also powerful, instrumental as well. And I also like the singer's voice. So guys, enjoy Eminence, God-Fearing Man. And that was Jimenez, God-fearing man. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Even if you're a Christian or if you're not a Christian, at least for the chorus, the sound and the voice and everything that the artist really tried to convey as well. I think it's a very fantastic, beautiful song. And for the next as well, I'm going to just show you another, our third to last Gothic band, which is called Galotans. And I discovered this by myself as well. Midnight Creature. So this is a Swedish British Gothic duo formed in 2010 in Sunderland, England. The sound is cold, wave, dark wave, and minimal wave as well. The songs have a signature light synth sound, deep bass, and a melancholic lyrics. This song in particular is a slow and creepy Gothic dirge about loneliness with eerie things, loathing throughout, landing with over-the-top dark lyrics about all the loathsome things found in the graveyard, delivered with deadpan pathos by William, and itself, of course, is directed by William Maybelline. So yes, I really hope you guys have enjoyed this week show. Keep sending your requests, your questions, or observations you want to make as well. To have discussions about the book industry, about writing in general, what's happening right now. Just keep it up. I have nothing else but thank you guys for just listening to me rumbling about writing and everything else, because yes, I have nobody else to show this, so here we are together. So right now, let's enjoy Midnight Creature by Midnight Creature by Alodan.